Hello, I'm James Morrow, and you're watching a very special mystery edition of Busting the Narrative. The question of the day is, where's Joe? Now, this is a real head-scratcher because the absentee president spent at least 2 days this week completely missing in action. But here's the funny thing. The media has barely reported on this fact at all. You know, it's kind of curious. So I think we should put our detective hats on and find out what we can to solve this mystery. And who knows, maybe we'll find Hunter along the way. Okay, now, we all know that Joe Biden has not had the greatest month recently. There was, for example, the whole thing where he fell off his bike. And then there was a fist bump with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. You know, the same guy he had said during his campaign had made Saudi Arabia a pariah state for its murder of journalist Jamal Khashoggi.
Khashoggi was in fact murdered and dismembered, and I believe in the order of the Crown Prince. And I would make it very clear, we were not going to, in fact, sell more weapons to them. We were going to, in fact, make them pay the price and make them, in fact, the pariah that they are.
Oh, yeah, and then there were also those polls recently that showed Democrats don't want him to run again in 2024. But I'll tell you what, old Joe particularly did not like being asked about this by the press.
Mr. President, what's your message to Democrats who don't want you to run again?
They want me to run.
2/3 say they
Read
don't.
the polls. Read the polls, Jack. You guys are all the same.
That's right. Listen, Jack, this may explain why the president, as of the time I'm speaking, had spent 3 days without any official items on his calendar. That's 72 hours without being seen. Now, some of the press, to their credit, put the question, I reckon it's kind of a reasonable one, where is the president? To White House flack Karine Jean-Pierre, who gave a totally convincing and not at all nervous answer. Have a look.
He's involved in these meetings today, or what exactly has he been doing yesterday and today?
So he's been in meetings. I was scheduled to meet with him today in the Oval Office. So he's been meeting with his senior staff. He's been meeting with a staff. I think some of you may have seen him when the First Lady of Ukraine was visiting with our First Lady. I believe you saw him very briefly. So he's just been very busy dealing with the issues of the American people and meeting with his staff and senior staff the last 2 days.
Yes. Meetings, lots of important meetings. It was the same thing when Pierre's co-press secretary, who knew there was such a thing, was asked about it. And watch those hands go.
I noticed on the president's schedule the last 2 days, there have been no public events. Is he resting after the large international trips?
The president's been busy. I'll let Karine speak to the president's schedule, but the president's been quite busy. Just because you don't see something necessarily on the public schedule doesn't mean that there's not a lot of work going on.
Now, of course, we all hope the president is just taking a few days to recover from his latest overseas adventure, or should I say misadventure. But the fact is that a president, even just politically speaking, who goes figuratively missing in action, leaves the ground wide open to his opponents. And these days, his fiercest opponents aren't to his right, but to his left. Because I'll tell you what, now even some of his most loyal defenders, the jesters of left-wing late-night comedy, are starting to turn on him. Have a look.
Okay, I know I've made a lot of jokes about Joe being old, but in my defense, since I made those jokes, he has gotten even older. That's on him. That's not me. There is something older than Joe Biden. It's the universe. Thank you.
Meanwhile, I read that Dr. Fauci said that he plans to retire by the end of President Biden's term. And then everyone turned to Biden like, is there anything you'd like to announce, too?
I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Joe Biden's support is slipping fast among Democrats, particularly those in the media who had worked so hard to prop him up and found their love unrequited. He has been a bitter disappointment to them for not backing up the progressive causes they hoped he would champion. And most recently, his weak response, the White House's weak response to the overturning of Roe v. Wade, looks like it may be the last straw. Now, I'm sure by the time you're watching this, Mr. Biden will be back on his bike, falling off it, but mark my words, these few days of absence could also be a bit of a, shall we say, dress rehearsal for a longer retirement that may come sooner than 2024. I'm James Morrow. Thanks for watching. And if you liked this video, please click like, share, and subscribe below. And I'll see you next time for more Busting the Narrative. Bye-bye.